Okay, we're going to work on learning about distance, rate, and time. When you're driving an automobile, it comes in really handy to be able to figure out how long it's going to take you to get to a destination going a certain speed. Or it's really handy to be able to know how fast you need to go in order to get to a destination on time. Or it's also helpful to know if you're going at a certain rate of speed and you know how long you're driving, how many miles you will reach. So we're going to talk about distance, and distance is going to be denoted by D. See, distance is D, rate is R, and T is time. So here's an example. If you ran 3.5 miles, so let's write that down, 3.5 miles. And by the way, I'm using the stylus on a pad, and so I'm not using pen and paper here, and I'm not very practiced at doing this yet. I don't have anything to look at as I'm writing except a computer screen, so my handwriting is a little bit shaky on this. Okay, if you run 3.5 miles in a half an hour, what is your rate? Rate equals what? Okay, so we know that distance equals rate times time. And we've already worked on isolating variables, and so on this equation I divided both sides by r so that I could get t by itself. So I divided r on this side and r on this side, and I get d divided by r equals t. And also, isolating variables, if I want to get r by itself, then I would divide both sides by t. So I get d divided by t equals r. So what we can do, since we know that we want to find out what r is equal to, then what we can do is we can write down what our formula is. R equals d divided by t. Okay, so we know that we are running 3.5 miles in a half an hour. So we would write down R equals 3.5 miles divided by a half an hour. And let's use a decimal there. 1/2 of an hour. And when we divide that, we get 7 miles per hour. 7 miles per hour. Now, miles per hour can be written a couple of different ways. MPH is the same as writing miles per hour. Which is the same as m per hour, miles per hour. So our answer here for our first example is that rate is 7 miles an hour. Let's do another example. Okay. Walking at 4 miles an hour, walking at 4 miles per hour, we covered 3 miles. How long did it take? Is our next question. So what we have 4 miles per hour as part of the information we know. We know that we covered 3 miles, so our distance is going to be 3 miles. And it says, how long did it take? That means that we don't know what t is. So since we're looking to find out what t is, we would use d over r equals t. Now let's substitute in what we know. We know our distance, it was 3 miles. And we know that we were going 4 miles per hour. So, how long did it take? It took 3/4 of an hour. Notice here that miles and miles cancel out, and what we're left with is hours. So 3/4 of an hour, which you guys know is 45 minutes. Let's do another example. Jeff drove 11 hours at 85 kilometers per hour. Remember that we don't always have math problems in miles. If you're driving in most of the other nations in the world, they are measuring distance in kilometers instead of in miles. So we're going to find our distance in kilometers. So here's what we're given. We're given 11 hours. So that's going to be our time, isn't it? The problem says Jeff drove 11 hours at 85 kilometers per hour. So 85 kilometers per hour is our rate. And it says, it asks, how far did he go? So distance, we don't know. So look up here and find which equation helps us find distance, and that would be d equals r times t. So let's write that. D equals r times t. And now let's write what we do know. We know that our rate is 85 kilometers per hour, and we know that our time is 11 hours. Notice that the hours cancel each other, so we're going to get our answer in terms of kilometers. And when you do the math, you get 935 kilometers. Okay, let's do one more. Gina jogged 6 miles per hour for 30 minutes. How far did she go? So, let's read that again. Gina jogged 6 miles an hour. She jogged for 30 minutes. How far did she go? Now this one is a little tricky because they're putting her rate in terms of miles per hour, not miles per minute, but they only told us how many minutes she jogged, which was 30. But we know 30 is half an hour, so 30 minutes needs to be converted to half an hour. All right, so we're going to use, again, D equals R times T. And our rate is 6 miles per hour. Our time